It's 100% entertainment, 100% electricity, 100%
Pipebomb Radio with your host, Felix Olmedo.
Be the man! You gotta beat the man!
Austin James.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
And Nate Milton.
Can you dig it, sucker?
We are live. Apologize for the technical difficulties here. For some reason, I wasn't just able to get in at all. But nonetheless, I'm here. We're ready to rock and roll. It is Pipebomb Radio this Tuesday night, special edition tonight, where we're just going to have some fun, kick back, and I may just have to give Austin a whole bunch of hell tonight. Just because I want to, just because he's part of the team, and he's used to that by now. Isn't that right, Austin?
You know, what's funny about it all is that you're telling me that I should be the one that getting hell, but the show started not in the most professional of ways. I mean, we usually go on live at 10 p.m. and then you come on at 10:02. If the authority would hear about this, man, I
really
would, obviously you're not considered for a job within that company.
Well, I'm not concerned. I mean, accidents happen. It is what it is. But
accidents don't happen if you're professional.
Yeah, says you. But you don't ever hardly make it to the shows anyways, except maybe once a week. Once every other week, I should say. So don't talk to me about professional, because you won't win that battle.
Well,
Nate, how you doing, man? Oh, we lost Nate.
Okay, I'm back.
You left?
Yeah, for a second there. But I'm back, And where's Nate at? I mean, usually he's here, but obviously everybody has to be, late for the show today. I'm never late. I'm always here.
My computer just does not want to agree with me today. I can't seem to do anything, post anything correctly. I can't seem to have any issues. Blog Talk's been giving me nothing but crap for the last hour. Yeah, I'm not real thrilled with the way my computer's running tonight. Oh, well. Moving on. We actually had scheduled somebody today, but you know what? We'll talk more about that later in the hour. We should have somebody scheduled for sure next week, like I mentioned.
But for tonight,
we're going to talk about the crazy world of professional wrestling. Unless you want to talk about it now, by all means.
Yeah, well, no, a big deal last night at the 50th anniversary of CAC. Steve Anthony, one of the best wrestlers in the world today, defeated the great Jushin Thunder Liger for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. Tonight, we were supposed to have him on, but due to, the jet lag and everything, and being a jet for a couple hours, we decided to reschedule it for him, for his sake, basically. Not wanting to push too hard after that, awesome night that he had last night. So we're going to have Steve Anthony on, NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, next week on Pipebomb Radio. And we actually had a former NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, Chase Owens, on.
Your phone is trailing off, kiddo. Speak up. Are you there? Hello.
Well,
I think we lost Austin there. Hello. Okay, well, nonetheless, as you mentioned, we will have Steve Anthony on the show neast week.
You're kidding me,
He actually won. Well, I don't know. I couldn't hear you. You didn't speak up.
No, I've been telling you got to put your earplugs on and get them out. Actually,
mine are just fine. It's your phone that's just a piece of crap. Your phone's a piece of crap, not my phone.
You have an Apple. That's what happens to Apple. Over time, they rot. But Samsung, they sing.
Oh, my goodness, my computer is just a piece of crap today. What is wrong with your damn phone? Your phone sounds horrible. I cannot hear you at all.
Couldn't hear me.
I still couldn't hear a word you said.
Continue. If you're going to keep on saying how bad I
hear you now, but your phone is a piece of crap.
Continue. Continue with the show.
I'm continuing. We try to say about next week's guest, but that's about all we could get.
Well, you keep on criticizing my phone, so I can't talk about next week's guest.
I couldn't hear you. If you're going to say something and I can't hear you, what makes you think anybody else could listen that could hear you?
Everybody can hear me. Everybody doesn't have their earplugs in.
In your own mind, in your own world.
Hey, we're all. I'm not having a problem tonight. Obviously, Nate's having a problem. You're having a problem. I'm doing fine. I just got a new cat calendar for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I'm doing great.
Well, pin a rose on your nose, because for some reason all the professionals are having issues, yet the one that's a royal pain is not. Figure that one out.
I'd rather be royal than royal pain than nothing at all. At least you're calling me something of more importance than yourself. Thanks for the compliment.
I don't know if that was a compliment, but whatever. Oh, come on.
You know, speaking of royal, you mentioned royal, you have to mention the Queen. The Queen of the United Kingdom, Queen Elizabeth, was watching Raw and was wishing that she was a part of the Authority. Man, I got to tell you, last night's Raw was fantastic.
Nate, wherever you are, man, we need you. Get your butt back here. I don't want to have to listen to this fool talk about the Authority for an hour.
Hey, I only tell you what's true. I don't mention anything unless it's a fact. You should know that by now. I mean, WrestleMania.
No, it's only a fact in your mind and so forth. But we'll go on from there. I actually enjoyed the possibility of seeing the big red monster return. Maybe a little piece of him came out. He didn't like thinking that he'd have to partake in something that was referred to as the finger poke of doom, or just to lay down for anybody. No man should never lay down for anybody. I don't care who he is, who he thinks he is, who he thinks he has in his back pocket. That's just a matter of pride and a matter of respect. You don't tell somebody who's practically been there, raised in hell, literally, for 20 years, to lay down.
Well, you know what?
I have a feeling that we haven't seen the last of Kane. We haven't seen the last of Kane, and I have a feeling that one way or another, the little mosquito that is Seth Rollins is going to piss off the big red monster, and he's going to regret it if he didn't already regret what he got coming to him.
No, I don't know what you're saying, because Kane is a very smart man. He has a family to feed, and he knows that without the Authority, he can't do that. And, it's totally understandable. And if I was in a situation, and Seth Rollins being a WWE champion right now, I would have done the same exact thing. Got to keep my job. Got to keep him putting bread on the table. Like
at this point, I don't think Kane really has a need for money anymore.
He's corporate Kane. Why do you think? You know what's funny about you, Felix?
He didn't need the money because look at Big Show. Big Show had
What's
to
his
beg
first
for it.
name? Corporate.
He never had to beg
last name's
for it.
Kane. What do you think corporate is? It's all about the money.
Yes, but that was his choice.
He doesn't need any more money. Come on.
He doesn't necessarily need WWE. WWE need him.
You're right about that. See, I took all the words out of your mouth. Wouldn't be that not.
No, I'm actually trying to communicate with Nate to hurry up and get back here, because he's going to have to be the referee here, because we're about to get into a squared circle here, brother.
Referee, that's what Jimmy Corderas is for. And speaking of Jimmy Corderas, last week on they had a great podcast. Not only podcast, it was on the network between John Cena and Chris Jericho. Jimmy was mentioned there as one of the guys that John traveled with, along with Tajiri, Funaki, and so on. And I thought it was a great podcast. I look forward to seeing more of the Jericho shows on the network. I mean, I've listened to all. I mean, he actually did a recent one with Vicky Guerrero, like last week. It was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one he did with Vicky. Vicky's definitely been enjoying life, I should say, after retiring from the ring, retiring from WWE, I guess you could say.
She had to.
Boy.
When you can't, can't keep up with power,
she really didn't need to keep on.
Step down.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wish her the best. I know she's definitely happy, but let's just go ahead and get past the riffraff of stupid internet connections here and talk about Raw. Raw, unfortunately, in my opinion, in this case, and I'm going to say, usually with the WrestleManias, the Raws after WrestleMania, which they end up emanating from the UK, in most cases, not all of the shows are always their best. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that this was a bad one, but it wasn't one of their better ones. And what I mean by that is that there was a lot of high points and a lot of low points, a lot of points that didn't make any sense. But for the most part, it was okay. It was an average show. You know, seeing the heel turn with Naomi was unexpected, which was nice. Dolph Ziggler and Neville put on an incredible show. Seeing what could be the return of Kane, maybe his last final run as the Devil's favorite demon, might reemerge.
You forgot about one guy. You're forgetting about John Cena, who for the past 4 weeks has been a great United States champion. I think it's like 4 weeks, 3 weeks. Great United States champion. I mean, every single week he's calling out different guys, and I haven't seen a bad match. People give so much, John Cena's a bad rap. I really think he does, because every single week, he comes out and does his thing. And him as United States champion, people are like, oh, why give him the U.S. title? I mean, look at everything he's won already. Why does he deserve it? But I mean, if you look at him, he is the perfect. And if anybody would be the perfect representative for the United States, it's John Cena. Yeah, everything about him stands for what this country's about. And him defending it every single week like a champion, calling people out. I mean, the start of the show, at least for the past 3 weeks, it was like Dean Ambrose. Who was it last week? I'm trying to remember who his opponents were. Well, last night it was it was Stardust was last week, Dean Ambrose was the week before, and the last night was Wade Barrett. And all three of those matches were top notch.
Yeah, they were okay. But there might be some controversy leading into something that could come down the line, and that being that Cena introduced the world to a new move that now I guess we call them the 6 moves of doom, that being the springboard stunner. And from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sit too well. That doesn't sit too well with Steve Austin. Steve Austin wasn't too thrilled about him using his move.
It's nothing like his move.
Well, it is a stunner.
He's jumping off the ropes, and it's actually not a stunner. It's an inverted neck breaker.
Yes, but you tell that to Steve Austin
go with that.
to see what he'll tell you.
Me and Steve
because it's not sitting too pretty with him. Steve is not thrilled. He respects John, but he doesn't like the fact that somebody's using his move. And I think this might lead to, maybe next year, could we see a Steve Austin versus John Cena match?
Come on.
Listen, it could lead to something.
Move. It's like, okay, we're gonna build a storyline, a story here because he's used my move. No, it won't make any sense. John Cena
I think it would, because Steve Austin could come in and make a good story with this guy. Cena's going to forever be loved and hated, whereas Steve Austin will always be respected and loved. And, yeah, he can make a beef about the fact that he's coming in here trying to be the biggest name and using his moves and trying to make money off of what Steve Austin did, and it could lead to a story. You never know.
Their moves are totally different.
You have your opinion, I have mine.
My opinion is better. But
if you say
Rusev... So. Hey, I only say facts, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Now Rusev comes out.
Facts, of course, in your own mind, that don't count.
John Cena, blindsided, and they're having a match now, a Russian chain match at Extreme Rules. And the WrestleMania match was, I thought it was great, but I think they're really going to outdo themselves this time as they continue to wrestle each other. They're going to continue to get better and better, and I see this going actually to SummerSlam, hopefully. Maybe it might extend to SummerSlam, he and Rusev's rivalry, and maybe in a last man standing match. I don't know, but I'm sure they'll come up with something great to watch. I mean, those two are always. I've been really enjoying what's going on between those two. Yeah, it's a perfect right. I mean, the Russian versus the American and the outer nations guy versus the Americans have been something that's been going on in professional wrestling history for a long time. So it's only natural for people to And they have their sides, but I think for the most part, the ones that hate John Cena kind of have to be on their John Cena side because the United States of America. But there's a few. I know there's some Rusev backers. I'm just looking forward to a great match at Extreme Rules.
Well, I think at this point, the fact that he's already taken away that undefeated streak of Rusev, where does he go from here? Does he win back the title? Do they continue on with this? How much further can they take it? If they haven't taken it any further than maybe this being the last pay-per-view they work together, but then who would he go with next? Who would Cena work with next? Would he work with Barrett? Would he work with Stardust? You know, the possibilities are out there. Does he bring more credibility to the U.S. title? Well, he's working on it. As far as the IC title, I have been hearing that the champion, Daniel Bryan, has not been physically able to compete as much or as hard as he has been. Hopefully that doesn't mean that he'll have to have any problems that will come in his future that he'll have to retire soon. Hopefully that's not the case, but...
Well, you have to keep in mind that the injury that he had wasn't something you just patch up and fix. You know, when you're dealing with, like, you know, nerves and in different parts of your body, your body's wired weird anyway. So something that might, you know, be in your arm can affect your shoulder or different parts of your body that wouldn't seem connected to, you know, to whatever parts of the. And Daniel Bryan right now, especially with the injury that he endured last year over the summertime and over his career, but I mean it comes with being a professional wrestler, right? But I mean Daniel Bryan, for one, I know he makes no mistake about it. I mean he wrestled with a detached retina for I believe it was like 4 months until he dropped the title, the Ring of Honor heavyweight championship to Homicide many years ago. But he keeps on bringing that up. I remember when he and Randy Orton had that match and where he really, I think he had a stinger, and then it was a couple of years ago, over the summer against Randy Orton, and he was doing like he flew out the ring and he hit his head on the barricades, and eventually it was kind of like a snowball effect, and led him to just getting kind of worse. He kept on getting worse with his arm movements and everything. So I don't know what the future holds for Daniel Bryan. I know they've been protecting him by putting him in 6-man tags over the past few weeks, and that's understandable. But I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for him in the Intercontinental Championship being around his waist.
Yeah. Well, they were hoping that he can bring credibility back to the belt and have those matches because that belt was always number 2 in the company, like it was a working man's title. Like you get that title, it just puts you up in a new category where you can actually fight for the world title. Now it's kind of been like, then the titles don't mean anything anymore. So they're trying to make them mean something, and I think that's a smart move. And we'll see if they can do it at this point. I mean, with Daniel, it's hard to tell if he's going to be able to. With Cena, well, he's going in the right direction. I will say that. As far as anything else, it just seems like everything that could possibly go wrong has been going wrong tonight. So bear with us, folks. We're hoping to get Nate back in here soon. If not, God help me. We'll have to just wing it, the two of us here.
Hey, it's gonna be a long night for you.
If you say so. But moving on from there, I didn't understand, but maybe I guess I kind of get it. But that means it could lead to something else. With Randy Orton and Seth Rollins making their stipulations, okay, I get the cage match. Makes sense. I would have preferred a Hell in a Cell, but, beggars can't be choosers. But taking out his finishing move, the RKO, that doesn't necessarily mean that Randy's completely helpless. If the people who've watched Randy over the last decade know that Randy finds a way to win. It's not above him to figure out a way to win, whether he has to punch you in the head or hit you in the head with a chair, one of the two. He'll figure out a way to win. He's a snake, and that's what he does best.
Yeah, but like I said, every single week leading up to to WrestleMania and now even, look what Seth Rollins does. I do the same thing. When a snake's in my garden,
he's a mosquito. All he does is buzz around people.
You just curb stomp it. You stomp on its head and it dies. No different with Seth Rollins and Randy Orton at Extreme Rules in a couple of weeks on the WWE Network. And I think it's going to be a great match. But like I said, every snake that crosses my path, at least, same with Seth Rollins, he's going to get his head curb stomped off. Obviously, come on.
Yeah, well, obviously you haven't really been following Randy's career all that much.
Yeah,
so,
Randy
Orton. If you're gonna think you can put one over on Randy Orton, you're gonna be disappointed.
No, Seth Rollins.
Don't assume that he's gonna be a
Randy
pushover
Orton.
either. Do not assume Randy's gonna be a pushover.
Because Seth Rollins has been on a great winning streak ever since WrestleMania. WWE champion.
Yes, but not all good things will have to come to an end.
I don't know about that. I think he's really secure where he is at the top of the company with Triple H, Stephanie, Joey Mercury, and
Mommy and Daddy
Jamie
lead the
Noble,
way.
the greatest security team in the world, and J&J Security. And come on, you keep on talking smack about them.
You plucked them out of obscurity and trying to put them back on TV.
When it all comes down to it, look who won every single match of WrestleMania. The Authority, every single one. And it was just great to keep on reliving that moment on the WWE Network. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I moved on. I pretty much put it behind me, and look forward to the future.
Yeah, the future is now, and the future is Seth Rollins. So me too.
I'm not convinced yet. He hasn't convinced me yet, so we'll see. Seth Rollins still hasn't proven to me that he's capable of being the figurehead for the company just yet.
Well, you look at another guy who's a part of the future. It's Adrian Neville. And Adrian Neville over the past weeks he really, when I say presence, at least in my opinion, he brings it. And for a guy like him and everything he's done before, coming to WWE in the past many years, he's incredible, and he's going to be one of the best ever in the future, I think. And right now he's building up his WWE name, and he has in NXT, he was the longest reigning NXT champion ever. So I mean, it's great to see him doing his thing on the main roster and having matches. I mean, he was the second week on Raw. He was with the WWE champion Seth Rollins. So I mean, I come on, who else would you choose? In that type of situation to put a guy with? I mean, Seth Rollins and Adrian Neville had a great match, and I think Seth Rollins definitely lifted up Adrian Neville.
And vice versa. Takes two to tango. Don't forget that.
Yeah, but Seth Rollins...
I actually have been impressed with the Lucha Dragons and...
Callisto, Sin Cara.
Yeah, I've been impressed with them because and the return of Mr. Fandango as he dumped Rosa and going back to his original theme of the ballroom dance, I guess. I thought that was interesting because he got the entire UK crowd into it. And it looks like we could see a face turn for Fandango.
No, Rosa didn't deserve that. What did she do? She didn't do anything to Fandango, and I think
she didn't do anything. You got that right. She didn't do anything for him. She didn't do anything for him. All she was basically arm candy. That's about it.
You're saying
she did nothing to improve or to make him any better. To make him any better. Well, to make him any better or make him any less, she did nothing. There was no point to have her there. Maybe she can move on to other things. And maybe she will. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll actually win the Divas Championship at one point or another. I'm sure somebody's a fan of hers backstage.
Rosa Mendez was,
I mean, if they can put the title on,
she's a total diva.
I think Oksana had it. Jillian Hall. I don't think Oksana had it, but that's one of your favorites, so I don't remember.
Well, no, it was Fandango. I mean, I thought there was Summer Rae and Layla before her.
No. I was thinking that at one point they could actually put the title on. I just lost my train of thought. What was her name? Who the hell were we just talking about, man? Oh my God.
You're talking
Rosa,
about Fandango.
yes.
You're talking about divas now.
Yeah, I jump around too much, so keep up. But, you don't think Rosa would be capable of winning the title?
Right now the Bella Twins are ruling the division, and why wouldn't they? I mean, being
they've got the top
superstars
as their boyfriend and husband, so I don't see why they wouldn't.
Come on, look, I don't care what anybody says. I think Bree and Nikki are great. The entertainers, they're top of the line, and
I'm sure they consider themselves great reality stars and blah 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 blah. And that's about all their claim to fame is.
It's not all about that. I mean, Paige is a reality star, but she is amazing in the ring. I don't think it's just because you're on a reality show, obviously doesn't mean that you suck. Natalia's on the Total Divas, does that mean she sucks? No. She has opportunity, though.
Well, for some reason they thought that JoJo sucked.
Yeah.
They bumped her butt. And then they bumped Naomi.
Now. She is now a ring announcer, which is a more, she's going to have a lengthy career if she's doing this, ring announcing. And I think she can do it for as long as she wants.
Well, I'm pretty sure she was originally going to be set to be an in-ring competitor, but that didn't end up happening, so. Oh, well. I'm not a fan of the Bellas. I haven't been before, and I probably never will be completely.
Well, I mean,
I was a fan of the match that Brie had with Stephanie, but that's about as far as I can stretch.
Well, that's good choice, Felix. Me too. But when you look, but you can't touch.
I'm just saying the match. I don't care for the people.
No, what I'm saying is, when you look but you can't touch, it kind of gets hard to like somebody because you're like, oh man, I really want to like them, but I can only look. You can't touch them. But that's fine, Felix.
Let me go ahead and just slap my knee when I laugh about that. It's a knee slapper.
Yeah, but the match between Brie and Nikki at SummerSlam. No, not Brie and Nikki. It was Brie and Stephanie at SummerSlam last year. It was fantastic. Stephanie McMahon in that match was awesome. Really
yes, but I will
me.
say that Brie Bella is no Ronda Rousey, and if that match ends up happening, Stephanie versus Ronda, rest in peace, Stephanie. She gonna rip you apart.
I don't know what you're saying.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Stephanie McMahon, she's McMahon. McMahon can fight. Look at Vince McMahon in the 90s.
That's about all they can do. But when you get in the ring with the Queen of the Octagon, you ain't gonna come out of that one in one piece.
I don't know what you're talking about, Felix.
You should know. You know who Ronda Rousey is. I don't have to tell you.
No, I know who Ronda Rousey is, but do you know who Stephanie McMahon is?
I do know who she is. She's got more balls than brains half the time.
You gotta be kidding me.
She'll get in there and she'll fight, but she ain't coming out in one piece. I can guarantee you that.
You're insane.
You don't know what I'm saying? Did you not see how she
you're
basically
insane.
threw
You
Stephanie
are
around?
insane because what's funny about it all is that every single time I mention it, like I keep on mentioning WrestleMania. Look at WrestleMania. Look at everything I said month by month prior to the event. It all happened exactly how I told you guys. You're like, oh no.
So you predicted that Ronda Rousey would hip toss Triple H and put Stephanie in an arm lock?
No, happened.
You predicted
I didn't see that happening, but my cable went out. But I did see Stephanie McMahon, announcing.
See The Rock and Ronda lay the smack down on their candy asses? That's right. I saw it. Hell, I was there. I saw it happen live. Because they thought that the WrestleMania was a success because of them. I don't know what kind of funny cigarettes they were smoking, but, that's just not true. Was it nice to see the reunion of the NWO and DX? Sure. Got some great pops. Some people were saying that the Terminator gimmick was kind of stupid, but it was nice to see it in person. That's about all I'll say. And then seeing Rusev come out in a battleship, that still was pretty laughable. But he came out in one of those tanks, and it was pretty laughable. It was really laughable. I'm sorry, it really was.
I can't believe that.
Because I know everybody I was sitting with were laughing their butts off just watching Rusev come in a tank.
Rusev is a super athlete. Muay Thai monster. He is everything that embodies a fighter. He really is. And, Rusev, and like I said, John Cena, Extreme Rules in a couple of weeks. It's going to be great. And Lana had her.
Yeah,
they've had some problems
2 weeks away now, isn't
it? Over time.
Actually, that'll be 2 weeks this Sunday night. I think so. No. I stand corrected. It's towards usually the end of April, so I'm assuming it was 2 weeks from yesterday. No, Sunday. Hell, I don't ever know. I know towards the end of April. That's about all I know. But, I got a question for you, Austin. I don't follow it anymore since I don't have the channel and I don't really sit down and watch it anymore online. What's been going on with Impact Wrestling? They've been kind of tanking, really.
Well, actually, everything I was before they made the move to Destination America, I need to put a few predictions on what I thought, was going to happen because, keep in mind, this channel has never had wrestling. They never, experienced wrestling.
From what I hear, the networks are running it.
Impact Wrestling is, somebody to say, Impact Wrestling, you just decide to go to Destination America. Well, I don't know. I think they knew there's more opportunity there in terms of showcasing their products right now. You know, on Destination America, which is a growing station, and it's growing more every day. And they've had some really good ratings for the shows over the past months.
But talent's not been happy.
But I knew what they were going to do with Kurt Angle. Obviously, he's an Olympic gold medalist, the kind of a standard bearer for people in the United States, the representatives, and it's kind of an obvious choice to make him world champion, to be that representative of the female wrestling and Destination America.
47 years old. I mean, how much longer does he have? I mean, what do you think, Nate? And thank you for coming back. I thought I was going to have to hang with this fool on my own. Because he's been sitting here just telling me how it is and how he believes it is in his own fantasy world. But I got to ask real quick, since we're on the topic of Impact Wrestling, what do you think about the Destination America, the switch? I haven't really been watching it, and I haven't been keeping up with it since they made the transition. Have you been keeping up with it? And if you haven't, what have you heard anything about it, positive or negative?
Well, I have been keeping up with it. I do a Impact podcast, and so I have to keep up with the product. And it's funny because they've lost probably half their viewership from Spike, and a lot of that is because Destination America is not readily available to most people in the country. Although, if you've got the PlayStation Network or something like that, you can kind of go through back channels and get it that way. But it's a hard show to find, so a lot of times I'll end up watching it on Saturday, the day after, once it's posted online. And I think it's a good show. It's not, it's TNA. TNA for, I'd say, the last couple of years hasn't been terrible. There was a time when Vince Russo was writing a lot of the shows and they had a lot of chaos backstage that the shows were just hard to watch. But the shows over the last year and a half, 2 years.
I thought it was due to Hogan and Bischoff. I thought at that point when because you had Russo and then you had Hogan and Bischoff coming in, and it's like you have to have a leader, whether it's a TV show or a sports team or whatever it is. You've got to have leadership. And when you've got a personality as strong as Russo and certainly as strong as Hogan and Bischoff, that's a hard mix to get to work. And so I think the shows have been pretty good, but it's not the type of program like a Lucha Underground that I think is going to inspire people to seek it out, just because, unfortunately, I think TNA it's got a bad image in the eyes of wrestling fans. But if you look at the shows, like Bobby Lashley was doing some great stuff, MVP was doing some great stuff, the Wolves are doing some great stuff. Like, there's a lot of talent on that roster, EC3. Oh, yeah.
So I hope people check it out.
I think
I'm actually a big fan of EC3. I actually think he's done incredible work since he went over to TNA. I'm sure Austin loves him.
Yeah, the great physique and everything, but in terms of TNA, right now I think every single time they get momentum, something happens where it brings it down. Like, we had different situations with the tag team titles, especially in the recent release of the Wolves, how Eddie Edwards had like a heel injury or something, and he had to vacate the title. And this has happened. Some vacating the titles actually, I think, like 2 separate occasions before this time, like before this one, in just 2 years. So it's like, this is just one scenario. But I think TNA, in order for them to thrive, they need to stay in Universal as long as they can. Because with the state, people think, in my opinion, I think that whatever you're looking at on TV, the presentation is key to making the guys, that are watching keep watching it. And the stage setup they have over there at Universal is great. And it's always, I don't know, there's always that aura that Universal brings that they can, TNA can go everywhere else they want and travel, but Universal for me has always been, the Impact Zone. There's always that aura that the show brings that it draws me into watching it. But I think they still have a little bit, fight left into them. But I know for Spike TV, they've been in talks with Ring of Honor, and actually are really interested in bringing Ring of Honor supposedly onto Spike TV in the coming months. But they haven't reached a deal yet. But I hope they do, and if they do, that'll be fantastic.
Well, see, the thing with Spike TV, and it's nothing against Ring of Honor, I don't know if that's going to work because the problem with Spike, as great as they were with TNA for so many years, Spike TV, if you look back when they were the Nashville Network, if you look back when they were trying to figure out their identity, for a while they were the network for guys, and then they wanted to be the movie network, and then they were like the hip video game network. They have never figured out what they want to be as a channel. So I like Bellator, I like TNA when they were on Spike, but I hope Ring of Honor can get that deal worked out. But at the same time, I don't know if Spike TV is going to be the type of platform that is stable because they are still figuring out who they are as a TV channel.
I have to agree with that at this point. I don't see them. Spike hasn't really done any favors for TNA. They seem to want to have controlled more than TNA. Well, they wanted to control more TNA than TNA was controlling. I don't really know exactly how much power Dixie Carter really had over the company when the executives at Spike were controlling a lot of the shots. Who they wanted as a representative, like Destination America, with the All-American thing and Olympic gold medalist as a champion. Okay, I get the logic behind that, but look, Kurt Angle has not got much left in the tank. Not saying he can't go in there and have A-plus matches with anybody he gets in the ring with, but the dude is almost 50 years old. You can't expect him to be in there all the time performing at high-level matches representing the company as their champion when they do have younger talent who are more viable choices. And I'm sure Kurt would definitely relinquish the title to them if they win. It just, I don't know. Both channels have not been stellar with the company. If they found a better network that allowed people to watch, I think they would give more of an opportunity for fans, new fans, in fact, to follow something other than WWE, because there is a lot more out there than WWE.
Yeah, I think the thing with TNA on Destination America, I think Destination America, on one hand, they're doing a great job of getting behind them, and they're doing a great job of promoting the show to the extent that they can. Like, they're all in with TNA. It's their highest-rated show, even though they've lost half their viewers from Spike. But the place I don't want to see is them making dictates, like, put the belt on Angle, because that, to me, is silly. Like, I think at this point, like you mentioned his age, Kurt Angle should be TNA's version of a Brock Lesnar or Undertaker. He should be a special attraction that coming up in 2 weeks, Kurt Angle's coming back, and you're like, oh, crap, I got to watch this show because we haven't seen Kurt for a couple months, and I want to see him get in the ring. So I think Lashley should have beaten Angle in that match, which would have helped Lashley, get some credibility as your champion, and then have the Angle just show up, 3 or 4 times a year for a big program, a big match, and have him kind of be your ambassador for TNA.
Well, what do you think about the whole entire James Storm thing that's been going on over the past weeks between Bram, Magnus, and Mickie James returning? I think James Storm wants, Mickie James to be a part of the Revolution. There's always room for one more. Do you want to join the Revolution?
The only Revolution I want to join is the one that had Prince in it. But that might
Prince is so passe. James Storm is leading the Revolution.
Get out of here. Prince is timeless.
Yeah. If he was so timeless, he'd be talking right now. He'd be, listen, me and Prince were way back, but come on.
Wow,
I'm
really?
not doing like the details of the history.
You and Prince and the Authority.
Oh, jeez.
Hey,
guys
look,
like
I don't want to complain about it.
Michael Jackson, guys like a Madonna, those of that era are timeless. I don't care how weird that Madonna gets.
Yeah.
The woman's
We're
a legend.
Going to take some time out for this. Look, I had a yogurt with Prince a couple months ago. And Prince is a great guy.
You had
I love
what with
Prince.
Prince?
But, I had yogurt with him. And Prince loved his M&Ms, and his yogurt. But, at the same time, we were talking about the Revolution, and he's like, man, if I was a part of the James Storm's Revolution, me and him can really coincide and be something that stands out. And, I agree with him, but James Storm has, I can't pronounce any guy's name. And
Austin, can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question here real quick. What's it like on your planet? What's the weather like on your planet?
What does that mean?
I don't know exactly where you come up with some of the craziest ideas, topics, discussions that you come up with. Yogurt, eating with Prince. You and Prince that time. Oh, my Lord.
Well,
I got to ask this. I said, what's the weather like on your planet? Because we're all doing fine here. I'm not sure if you're doing okay.
I'm sorry if you guys don't have the same life experiences as me, but I mean, it's something unique. But
wow.
Like I was saying, with James Storm, the Revolution leading TNA, I don't know what's up with Mickie James, but the country rock star that Mickie James is, hardcore country. I think that it would be a unique addition to the Revolution because James Storm's acting really weird, around Mickie James acting all nice and everything. But look at the guys, Manic, Abyss, and the Indian guy. I can't pronounce his name. What's his?
You don't have to ask Nate on that
Koya.
one. I haven't been keeping up.
Koya. Yeah, Koya. And, he's acting so cool around him, and he's going to be facing Koya this Friday night on Impact, and actually had a match last week between Koya and Manic, I believe, in order to see who would fight James Storm next week, this coming Friday on Impact. But I think Mickie James, without a doubt, is going to insert herself within the match, and I think Bram's going to be pissed off. I mean, I'll be pissed off.
I got a question for both of
sense.
you. Good question for both of you. You notice how over the last couple of years, WWE has actually made it a point of inducting at least one woman into the WWE Hall of Fame, going back to Trish, to Lita, to Medusa. Who do you guys see being the next inductee? Do you see, and if so, and if it's, and may I put in there, do you think Mickie James will be an eventual inductee? So I guess it's a two-part question. Don't all answer at once now.
I think Mickie will eventually get in, but I think it'll be Mickie, much like Kurt, they'll have to completely be done with TNA before they get in. So I see Mickie getting in eventually. Yeah. In terms of who will be the next one, that's a good question because there were a lot of girls, especially during that Lita Trish era, and even a little bit before that I think deserve to get in, such as Ivory.
Ooh, that was one of my top picks.
Molly Holly, Jazz, even. I think, Jazz may be a little bit of a stretch, but I think that those are all women that I think would be deserving. But knowing how the WWE operates, I think they would want to go with somebody that had a little more mainstream sizzle, so to speak. So I think you'd probably see somebody like Stacy Keibler or Tori Wilson go in first.
Oh, come on.
No, actually, that makes sense.
I'm sorry. I mean, in my opinion, you mentioned girls with a mainstream adherence, people looking towards them for inspiration and such. Jillian Hall, without a doubt. I mean, Hall of Fame. 2015.
Wow, you really went there, didn't you?
Well, I know, because she deserves it because her singing skills in wrestling history. Nobody has been like her in any way, shape, or form. I mean, she's a real trooper.
Actually, I hear singing like her outside my window. I hear cats screeching like crazy. I figure it was Jillian out there practicing.
You must have never listened to her Christmas album. Her Christmas album was, second to none. And I think that alone.
So I hear bells ringing and then I hear screaming.
In the Hall of Fame.
Good grief. Jillian Hall.
You guys don't agree?
Man, I'd just rather have the boogeyman just gnaw on her face a little bit more.
That was a problem, and she doesn't like to mention that. So I don't want to go into details.
I'm sure you don't, because that was kind of nasty but kind of cool to watch.
I don't know about that.
Well, I still remember the boogeyman match with JBL. I think that's the only time I've ever seen JBL actually want to wet himself, because he was that weirded out by boogeyman. And then to see him gnaw on her face, Jillian's face, and then put worms in her mouth. Yeah.
Yes.
Boogie's out there. But I actually wanted to ask you, Nate, since we were talking about it earlier, what were your thoughts on Raw? I mean, I was telling Austin that a lot of the times the shows in the UK, although the crowd is crazy at times, but the shows are never really that good. I mean, they're good, but not that good. What did you think about Raw?
Yeah, I think, it's a couple of things. I think, one, we're entering the kind of post-WrestleMania lull where things kind of settle down for a while before we start getting geared up for SummerSlam. The other thing was you had a lot of key individuals, particularly Austin's favorite, The Authority, not being on the show.
Yeah, that was nice.
The other thing was, I respect Glenn Jacobs, but I'm just kind of tired of the Kane character in general, being on TV in such a prominent position every week. Like, there were some things I liked, but the whole Kane and Seth Rollins deal, it's just like I can't get excited about Kane being on my TV screen in 2015.
Well, I mean, I think honestly, it was mentioned that the possibility of him hanging it up, I mean, I believe, and I read somewhere, I thought he was 47, but I guess he's going to be turning 48, that Kane really rose to fame as the Kane character. Glenn Jacobs really rose into prominence as Kane as opposed to the dentist or the fake Diesel. And he's been raising hell as a Kane character for almost 20 years. And for him to retire as that character, go back to the mask, and just have one last hurrah and hang it up, I could see it happening. I mean, does he really need the money anymore? Probably not. So I think maybe one good payout and then call it a day. Call it a day and retire and go back to his business he has in Tennessee and live his life out there.
Wow. You guys are really funny. You know what you should do? William Regal actually had a great comedy show. He did over the week in the UK, his hometown there. That's what you guys are saying about
William Regal. Be one person
hilarious.
I'd love to listen
to. Kane doesn't need any more money. His corporate Kane for a reason. Why would he change his name to corporate Kane if he didn't want money? Come on. And he's doing the right thing right now. He's in the right position because he knows where the money is, and that's what the Authority. And if you guys are getting the bandwagon here, which I originated, it's you would see that the delusional line is blurred by you guys, not me. I've been right about everything leading up to WrestleMania, at WrestleMania. Everything I said was going to happen, and then some. Same
Except for the part that he said that his TV went out when Ronda Rousey hip tossed Triple H and nearly tore off Stephanie's arm.
What do you mean?
Yeah, but everything else he predicted, though,
What do you mean? Wait, were you dreaming last night?
Exactly.
No, you probably, you mentioned that last night. You were dreaming about it. It would have probably been a great moment at WrestleMania, but, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it was a dream. I guess it was a dream considering I was there live. Sure, buddy. But let me ask you, Nate, I was talking to Austin about this as far as Dallas goes. If Sting gets a nod for the Hall of Fame, could we see you out there for WrestleMania weekend?
Yeah, that's always been my big thing. Like, I've always wanted to go to a WrestleMania. I think the closest one to me was in Atlanta, and I would have loved to go to that one, but unfortunately I was working at the time. But I've made the promise that if Sting when Sting, because I don't even think it should be an if. Like, he's a Hall of Famer all the way. So whenever the year is that Sting gets inducted, that's the year that I will be attending my first WrestleMania.
That'd be sweet. And I was saying, it'd be a good idea to maybe have the Pipebomb radio team unite in Dallas and maybe do a show out there. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, maybe me and Nate can cook some mean, delicious asparagus.
I wouldn't mind eating it.
We can see if Harley races around and see if we can get some of that good barbecue.
I know,
works too.
I might bring Kanye to be with us. He has some great spices. That'll be great.
Did you just say Kanye? Oh,
gosh,
no.
You guys have experienced life. You guys are like stuck in a closet most of the time. You guys know who Kanye West is? Come on.
Wow. I didn't say I didn't know who he was. I just found it funny that you mentioned a name that I never expected to hear out of your mouth.
Oh, well, too bad for you guys.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what them people up in New Orleans like listening to, but I didn't realize it was Kanye West.
He had the
damn
best songs
Kardashians.
of all time.
Well, how about you, Nate? Overall, though, what did you think of the whole ordeal with with Randy Orton and Seth Rollins, the stipulations, and I know obviously the whole deal with Kane. Honestly, Kane chose to do what he wanted, not because he needed the money, but because he chose what he wanted to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he can't come back to the devil's favorite demon anytime he wanted. But going back to my question, what do you think about this whole ordeal with Randy and Seth trying to outdo each other? Seth bans the RKO. Randy puts a cage match. What do you think the odds are of the champion actually walking out with the title?
I think they're pretty good. I think that I'm actually enjoying Seth Rollins right now as champion, something I never thought I would say. Yeah, I think
know.
I love you, mate.
He makes a good villain, and the hero's triumph is only as good as, you know, the villain he beats. Much like last year when Daniel Bryan beat Triple H, that was a great moment, not only because Bryan won, but it was like he beat the ultimate authority figure in the WWE other than Vince McMahon, and it was like, oh, this is a great moment. So I think that Seth is going to hold the title until there is somebody that is worthy of beating him, and as much as I respect Randy Orton, I don't think it's Orton's time right now.
Me either.
I understand
either. Good job.
I understand that. At this point, there is going to be a contender, whether it be Randy, whether it be Roman, whether it be, if Daniel is in good health, maybe Daniel. Could it even be Kane? Maybe.
Like,
never
I
say
still
never.
think that title. I still think Brock's going to get that title back one way, shape, or form.
Oh, I'm sure he's going to get back into the loop one way or another and tear that boy a new one. You don't piss off the beast, let me tell you. And I think at that point, if something happens to Austin's precious champion, we may never see Austin again. He will fall off the face of the earth in total depression.
Hey, there's no worries about that. I mean, Seth Rollins takes out a beast single-handedly. He takes out.
I'll believe that when I see it, and when I mean single-handedly, without the J&J security goons by his side.
Well, I didn't see that, but I mean, Extreme Rules in a few weeks on the network. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. It's not going to be a wrestling match. It's going to be a fight, because Seth Rollins knows that Randy Orton is a snake, and Snake has. I mean, you can see him in Titantron every single time Randy Orton walks out. He has venom in his veins. It's pretty weird for a human, but I mean, Randy Orton knows what type of champion, what type of person Seth Rollins is. Because at WrestleMania, Seth Rollins showed him exactly what type of person Seth Rollins was. And
people can say what they want about Randy, but Randy is so extremely smooth. He makes those moves that he does in the ring seem like they're just a piece of cake. He makes it look flawless, so easy. He's very smooth in the ring, and he's enjoyable to watch because he gets in there and his intensity is addicting to watch. And seeing that sweet RKO he did at WrestleMania, that was pretty sweet. That's definitely one of his best ones. I enjoyed that very much so. And I've seen him pull it out of anywhere.
Yeah, like it's funny because I know you've been watching for a while, Felix, and it's like, doesn't it always seem that the pay-per-view after WrestleMania almost feels like very anticlimactic? But this year, I'm excited for Cena Rusev. I'm excited for Rollins and Orton. I'm actually even excited for Big Show and Roman. So I think this could be a very good show.
Well, Big Slow, I don't know how much more he's got left either. He'll probably cry us another river. About why he can't leave, But, I think Roman is just going to spear the Big Show down. The Jolly Green Giant will fall and walk away with his tail tucked between his legs and never see him again.
Look, the Big Show is the best big man athlete in the world today. And Paul, a good friend, would actually, if I told him about this, and just for your
Which one are you talking about, Paul White or Paul Levesque?
Paulie Dangerously?
There you go. There's another one.
I'm talking about Big Show. Come on, guys. And I'm saying that I know Felix has, a family. So I wouldn't tell Big Show anything.
Of course I've got a family. Who are you talking about? Show's got a family?
I know if Big Show would hear about this, he would knock you out, and you wouldn't wake up.
I doubt that very much. I don't think he can swing.
I don't know about that.
I don't think he can swing anymore. He'll probably get he wouldn't even be able to get his fist up because he gets his head out of Triple H's ass.
You're hilarious. The guy that went to WrestleMania 31 in Santa Clara, the Big Show, first thing that ever happened at WrestleMania in the night, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, knocked out every single person that was in that ring to become the Andre the Giant Battle Royal winner.
You know, if Andre was around, God rest his soul, he would have taken the show to school, and there would only be one Giant, and that would be Andre.
Big Show is too cool for school, so that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like, as much as I like the Big Show, respect his career, there is only one Giant in the sport of wrestling, and that is Andre, rest in peace. Second of all, Austin, you're friends with Felix on Facebook, much like myself. This man has been working out. He's getting in shape. I don't think Big Show wants any part of Olmedo Mania.
Oh, no. You didn't just go there. Oh, my God.
What you going to do, brother, when Felix runs wild on you?
Wow. I did not see that coming.
That's a WrestleMania 32 program.
Oh. I would only do that if Nate walked me down the aisle as my manager.
I get a slick outfit with the hat and the coat and everything. Yeah, we can do that.
There you go.
Olmedo Mania versus Axelmania, WrestleMania 32, Dallas.
Now, that would be cool if we had Austin in the cage at top of the ring watching, and that way when the cage gets lowered down, we'll have Ryback.
You're bringing up some dusty ideas. Come on. It's WCW. We're not doing that anymore.
I don't mean nothing. WCW has some good moments, too. WWE doesn't always have good moments. Some of their ideas have stunk.
You know what I want to mention? We haven't talked about NXT. NXT tomorrow night is going to be a great episode.
Please
because
do. Go ahead.
For the first time ever, we're going to be seeing Sami Zayn versus the Man Beast Rhino. For the first time ever, it's never been done before. And I mean, I don't know what Rhino thinks he has to prove, but I mean, going back to NXT,
I've never really been a fan of Rhino. I don't know. He just never clicked for me. I had been a fan of Sami Zayn before he came to WWE. I enjoyed the matches that he had with Kevin Steen, and Rhino just never did it for me. I was never really a fan. I mean, I guess maybe going back to his days in the ECW, but I mean, even then, he's just such a bland character for me now.
I don't know what you're saying about it, because I mean, the fans are always chanting "Gore, gore, 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 gore." You know, when he comes out. But tomorrow night they're going to be chanting "Ole, ole, ole," because Sami Zayn's going to be in the ring.
That makes no sense. That chant is so ridiculous. That chant is so ridiculous. He's a Canadian, and they're chanting "Ole, ole, ole." That makes sense,
Felix. I don't know what town you're from.
Well, it ain't from whatever the planet the people in the NXT arena are from. They're all kinds of weird.
He's from a small place called Tijuana, Ontario.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what Felix was saying. I have no clue why people think Sami Zayn and El Generico are two of the same people. They're not. El Generico right now is at his
here we go. Austin's taking a trip back to La La Land again.
It's not La La Land. It's the truth. He even said it, because when El Generico retired from professional wrestling a few years ago, he went back and he said it. He's going back to his orphanage in Mexico to help out his kids. Plain and simple, that's what he did. And people constantly think that El Generico and Sami Zayn are the same person, but they're not. I mean, Sami Zayn's a great athlete, you know, and I don't know they don't look anything alike, and they don't wrestle the same anyway. People are weird, you know.
They had the same body form, same beard, only a difference was a mask. Okay, sure, they're not the same person.
Yeah. It's like that time John Cena was Juan Cena for that one episode of Raw.
Or maybe Hogan was Mr. America.
Mr. America, yeah.
What? Wait, Hogan was Mr. America?
Wow.
Wait, that's it. Hold on. So, I mean, I was SmackDown, but I never would have expected that. Hulk Hogan.
Just like you didn't know that John Cena was Juan Cena. God, that was such a stupid idea. I'm glad that didn't come to TV.
Well, no, the reason why they did that is because for people in California like yourself who don't understand English, they want to do it in one.
Oh, okay. Don't be a hater just because you can only speak one language.
Hey, look,
and I don't even know what that language is yet, but I'm still trying to learn.
Look, my good friend
I don't
Felix
speak whatever you speak and whatever planet you live from.
Hate, okay? You can't hate.
Hey,
you have to,
what?
You know.
I know speaking Austin.
What do you mean, speak Austin?
I mean no speaking Austin language.
You probably don't speak anybody's language. That's why you're in California.
Don't be a hater now. Don't be a hater because you were jealous about how I was going to WrestleMania and you wasn't.
Well, guess what? Haters gonna hate, like my good friend T Swifty says. MTV Music Awards.
Oh, wow.
Swifty.
I'm gonna need you to shake that off, Felix, Austin. But I got a question for you, brother Felix.
All right.
With the news of SmackDown moving to USA next year, and we've seen how SmackDown is right now on Sci-Fi, where it's not really a show that you have to watch. What do you think about maybe not doing NXT and making that SmackDown, but bringing a lot of those NXT guys like Sami Zayn, like Hideo Itami, making those guys kind of some of your stars on the USA version of SmackDown?
You know, that's actually not a bad idea. And the reason I say that is because it takes me back to the 2002 to 2004 era, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Paul Heyman was running things at that time as far as GM goes. And we saw a lot of the emergence of a lot of young talent, and it definitely made SmackDown more watchable than Raw. Because you got to see so many different things. I think they had the light heavyweight or the cruiserweight at the time. I can't remember which one. They had the emergence of new tag team champions. I mean, they split the brands, but I mean, they made SmackDown enjoyable, and it hasn't been that enjoyable since. You know, as far as getting rid of NXT, I think they still want to have the idea of it to be televised in some form or fashion to give the rookies the experience. But I like the idea of sending the ones that are already on TV each week or each month, whatever, to go to SmackDown, to build their characters and establish something and give SmackDown a whole new persona, I guess, or a whole new look, I guess is a better way to say it, and give them a general manager that will run it. I mean, Kane don't have to be an authority figure anymore. Honestly, I don't think that'll be much longer anyway.
No.
Give him a GM, you know, maybe bring in Maddox again, good grief. Or, because I know Teddy's gone, I know Vicky's gone. Somebody that's liable, maybe even King, maybe even Hogan. That'll, you know, somebody, well, no, Hogan's too much of a glory hog. But anyways, the idea is good.
It's got to be somebody different because I think, man, you know, you talk about guys that are getting their character together down at NXT. I think there's a lot of guys that are ready right now. You know, you talk about Itami, Zayn, you talk about Kevin Steen, you talk about a lot of those guys that are down there, Finn Balor. I think that, you know, Samoa Joe may be coming in and being like, it'd be such a waste to have Samoa Joe in your company and just have him on NXT on the network. Like, if you're launching a new SmackDown on USA, it's like, man, imagine like your first night and your main event for that first night is Owens versus Samoa Joe. Like, that sets the tone right there.
Yeah.
I don't know about that because if they would bring NXT onto a network like Sci-Fi or USA, it wouldn't like the feel for they wouldn't do that. It wouldn't make any sense to because why have the network for $9.99, which I'm sure you both are paying, you know, every single month with your hard-earned money. It wouldn't make it. It's still. I can't find a way where it would make sense.
No, I'm not saying you get rid of NXT because NXT serves a purpose for the guys that are and the girls that are still learning. But you've got a lot of guys that are ready to come up. You know, like there's no reason Owen should still be down in NXT. Like this dude is ready to go now. So I think guys that are in that stage, you bring them up to a SmackDown and you mix in some of the other guys like, you know, Dolph Ziggler and maybe Daniel Bryan only defends the IC title on SmackDown, and you make that the real wrestling-heavy show.
I could see that. I mean, it makes sense because it's been done and it can be done. And
yeah.
I'm just saying, getting rid of NXT, obviously that won't happen. But sending over the guys like they're on the list there that are already been really over with the fans or not so over or whatever, it gives them the opportunity to work on a bigger stage if they haven't already been doing so with some of them on non-televised shows. But getting over there to be on a worldwide television for free, why not?
And the other thing, like people
and that also raises the question: should SmackDown be taped, or should it go live?
Yeah, and I think I don't know, man. I think live would add some excitement to it, but I think tape
so too.
to start would probably be good. But you bring up a point in terms of those guys and girls on NXT. Like, as much as we all love NXT as wrestling fans, the sad thing about NXT is that those guys don't get a lot of money. And if you're a guy like Samoa Joe or and Tommy, guys that are a little bit older, they're not old, but they're in their 30s, it's like you got to pay those guys, a living wage so they can take care of their family. And the way you do that is by bringing them on SmackDown.
I know, but you have to understand that in a place like WWE, there's very little room for opportunity because if you look at the roster right now, it's filled up with so many guys that you guys, ever since you're saying, oh, this guy needs to get opportunity, Dolph Ziggler needs to get opportunity, and then you're asking for more people to be brought up to the main roster right now. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. There's NXT for a reason.
You got to have a brand split. You got to have a brand split because there's not enough spaces with everything being one company. But I think if you have the brand split, you put Dolph Ziggler, make him SmackDown exclusive. Maybe you make the tag titles, maybe you make those guys SmackDown exclusive, and then you bring up guys like Joe and Tommy and Balor and all those guys to kind of fill out the roster. Then you've got a spot where these guys can get some shine and make some good money.
And, it gives them the opportunity to get that learning experience too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Triple H, in terms of NXT as a product, I think the reason why he's bringing in guys that I never in my life thought that Samoa Joe would ever will have the opportunity to be in WWE after the career he's had in TNA. I'm like, well, wouldn't make any. Like, if they wouldn't. Like,
Joe was in WWE,
if
but
they wouldn't have brought in
back.
AJ Styles when they had the chance, why would they bring in Samoa Joe right now? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Because Joe's more over with a lot of people.
For them to bring him up right now, I think Samoa Joe's like 32 years old, 35 years old. I'm not sure.
He's early to mid 30s.
So I'm like, in bringing on NXT, I think it's because you have to keep in mind that NXT's touring now, and Samoa Joe's popular in different parts of the, obviously in the United States, he's a popular guy in different parts of the country, and to have his name on those shows that they're doing and in the local areas. Kevin Steen's popular, in the northeast region. I think it's just for that purpose. I don't see it, and as much as I love Kevin Steen, and he's, I hate saying this, but I think they're going to make NXT, like what you're saying, a brand that is kind of does their thing on their own, because there's so many guys there right now. There's so many talented guys. Like, they just brought in 11 guys a couple of days ago. Among them, Yuha Nation, who is incredible. He's incredible. He really is. And there's so much talent, and not everybody's getting the opportunity to showcase it on Raw and SmackDown.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't have a problem with what you're saying, Austin. But I think if you're going to make NXT its own brand and it's not going to be this quote-unquote developmental type place and it's its own brand, then you got to pay these guys. Like, you can't have Samoa Joe and Hideo Itami and Kevin Owens working for $500 a night. I think that's a little bit insulting, and you got to pay them real contracts.
Brings up a good point.
Because Samoa Joe, like, let's just take Joe, for example. You're telling me the WWE says, hey, Joe, you're going to be in the WWE. We're going to put you on NXT, but we're only paying you $600 a night, $500 a night, $700 a night. Or you can go work for Lucha Underground. At the same time, you work for ROH. At the same time, you work for New Japan. If I'm Joe, I'm taking that route because I can make more money for my family. So I think if the WWE wants these big-name, quote-unquote, indie stars to be in NXT, I don't think that's a problem. But you can't pay them like indie stars. You got to pay them like they're a part of your real roster.
And if they need to find a new John Cena, they got to start pushing for the new stars to make something of themselves sooner rather than later. Because Cena's getting older, Randy's getting older, Jericho's not going to be around much longer.
I think Cena's 37, 36, something like that.
He's actually around our age. He's about a year older than I am. I think he was 76 something, and he's about 38, 39 going to be. So, I mean, it's an idea that has some kind of merit to it because it could lead to finding a future star. I mean, they don't necessarily have to revolve it around a Rollins, a Reigns, and an Ambrose. They've got other talent that is equally as hungry. Not saying that they don't have something with these three that have already come up, but establishing more stars gives a chance of them finding their what is it, the one that could lead the way for the next generation. Because if they waste too much time pushing Cena, and he's already embraced that love-hate that he gets, but Cena, he's going to want to hang it up sometime. I think he even said that on damn podcast that he did with Jericho, that he was going to turn heel, or he would be glad to do it if they found somebody that would be able to be kid-friendly like he has been for the last god-awful century that he's done it.
Yeah, and I respect that about Cena. I really respect that because it's like, Felix, you and me, and maybe even Austin as older fans, we're not really drawn to that character. But he's right, man, because when you look at it when we were kids, who did we look up to? Macho Man, Hogan, Coco Beware, guys that appealed to us as kids. And you're always going to need one star like that on the roster that brings in the kids.
Yeah. And like John Cena said, if he would turn heel, who would do that? I mean, if you look at it, the main roster right now. Can you name a one guy that can be the same esteem as John Cena right now? Like if John Cena turned heel tomorrow, who can be John Cena? That also goes back to the idea
of Nate, what Nate was saying, bringing some of the newer guys up and building them into something.
I know,
Cena was given an opportunity. He was given an opportunity when somebody else wasn't able to step up, and he created something with that.
They've been bringing NXT stars up kind of, really slowly. And you don't see. Look at how it's been over the past years. They bring up guys like the Shield, and it was we know it was like Biggie Langston. And the Shield came before him. Then it was like Biggie
let's
Langston,
not get started on Big E because we'll get Nate upset about that one.
And then Bo Dallas, who was amazing. And
it's because they didn't do nothing with him. You're right, Nate.
Yeah,
they didn't do nothing with a lot of the stars they brought up.
Right, who could be that kid-friendly guy? Like, I don't know if you, remember how hot Biggie Langston was a couple of years ago. And I went to a couple of shows out here in Hampton and Norfolk, and the kids love Big E. He's like this big dude that had personality, and he went in the ring, and he kicked butt, and kids really gravitated to him. And it's like, man, you could have done so much with this guy, but now he's kind of stuck in that mid-card muck with guys like Kofi and Dolph and a lot of great workers that, we don't really believe in as, hey, that's a top guy right there.
Well, they positioned him. Remember the time he debuted? And it was Slammy Awards with AJ. The first guy he took out was John Cena, and it made sense. It was like, he took out John Cena. As me as a person, it's like I'm assuming he's going to go on to do some really big things if he's taking out John Cena on his first night in. And he did. He went into won the IC championship from Dolph Ziggler on Christmas, maybe like the night before Christmas or something, a couple of years ago, and had some amazing matches. I mean, every week after week. I remember the matches he had with Alberto Del Rio. The extreme matches were incredible. And I've seen him as being that champion, WWE champion material. But now he's with the New Day, who was fantastic, positivity off the charts. And everybody cheering their name week after week. It makes sense. But I don't know. I don't know I don't know if they're putting them as a tag team on, Raw and SmackDown as validation. I hate to say that, but you know what I'm saying? It's like you have the three, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with them.
I don't think they
it's
know
like
what they're doing with them either.
I mean, no, I feel the positivity through the television screen. It's radiating off my skin more than Neutrogena does, at night. But I mean, I feel what they're doing, but I don't know their direction that they're going right now. I love them as a tag team. I think they're entertaining. I mean, I've seen them live, and I feel the beat of their music when they come out. When that.
Are you kidding? I hear more people chanting "New Day sucks."
What? I
the crowd is getting louder and louder with "New Day sucks," and you can't tell me you don't hear that.
I tell you what, Felix, I can kind of empathize with the New Day though, because as much as we love Austin, sometimes he can be a little frustrating when he talks about the Authority, and so much like Kofi and Big E and Xavier, when I talk with Austin on the show, sometimes I have to clap before I snap.
Wow.
Great rap, see? That's fantastic, but not better than me.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You are the resident Eminem of
trained by Eminem
Radio.
himself. Keep that in mind.
I still got my money on Oscar.
Come on.
But that's another story. But as we go ahead and bring this conversation to a close, we definitely want to bring up a couple of things here. Number one, Thursday, Oscar and Mo will be discussing Cauliflower Alley. Oscar actually got to perform down there, and we'll hear about that, as well as the people he's gotten to chat with. If he's going to bring anybody with him, I don't know. Next week, as we tried to talk about it earlier, Austin's phone went kaput. Couldn't hear him. He could hear me or couldn't hear me. Hell, I don't know.
He blocked me out. That's fine.
Steve Anthony was going to be joining us, as he was going to be joining us tonight, but we postponed that to next week. He had just recently won the title. What was the title name? Go ahead, Austin.
Well, Steve Anthony was supposed to join us tonight because he just last night, probably the biggest victory of his career, against Jushin Thunder Liger for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship, the first time he's held this title. And, like we said, we spoke with Chase Owens at the tail end of last year, former NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. Now Steve Anthony has a title around his waist. Next week on Pipebomb Radio, we're going to speak to Steve Anthony about it all and get his points on, how it felt to win against a legend like Jushin Liger and where the future holds. And Steve Anthony is one of the best wrestlers in the world today. They don't call him the exclamation point for nothing. I mean, I've been called that before, because I'm exciting. But I can't wait to.
Had to be the reason for the hair. Wow, I stopped him dead in his tracks. Wow,
yes, you did.
First.
Oh, that was excellent.
Wow, on point. I dig that. But as Austin said, we'll talk more about that next week, and more about Cauliflower Alley, because he was obviously there. I'm sure he's going to check out all the events that were going on there too. So good to hear about Cauliflower Alley, and hopefully at one point or another, Pipebomb Radio in the future maybe we'll be down at Cauliflower at one point or another. Might be cool.
Yeah.
I definitely would say, I would encourage my co-host here to make the trip to Vegas at one point or another and check it out. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Obviously, one of our prior guests, I think it was about a week ago, Mr. Bruce Tharp was down there. Is still down there, I should say.
Yeah, the
even former guest of ours too, Big Bill. Man, I wish I could have hung with that guy, because he got to go. Nate, he got to hang out at the Godfather's Gentlemen's Club.
Oh, the cheater.
And yes, him and D'Lo were down there, and they were treating Bill to 6 hours worth of adventure and fun. And I can't tell you any more than that.
But that's nothing like being with Siegfried and Roy. Just a couple of years ago, I was with them training tigers and lions and bears in Las Vegas, and let me tell you, crazy stuff happened. But it's the Cauliflower Alley Club 50th anniversary. Big deal. Steve Anthony winning the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship, the first time ever. And in order to be at an NWA, any title that they have, exchange is rare. I mean, if you look at the NWA as a whole, I mean, their champions are pretty lengthy, you know, in terms of, especially the last years. People who held the titles hold it for a long time until somebody, you know, outsmarts them in some way. But, I mean, you can't outsmart an exclamation point, at least for right now.
I mean,
couldn't do it, and that's really sad to say.
Winning any NWA title is a big deal, but even if this was a non-title match, having a win over Jushin Thunder Liger in your column, that's a big deal. And so winning the title, I think that makes it even that much cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get into all that more conversation next week. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties that started off the show. Started off a little bumpy, but we got back into it, and we were able to get Nate back with us. And, well, we talked about everything that we could possibly talk about, and then some. I mean, I know Nate and Austin didn't really tell you to exchange any kind of recipes and so forth, but we'll save that for another day.
You didn't talk about everything. You didn't talk about Pipebomb Radio's social media. For example,
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I mean, follow me on Twitter, @the_Austin James.
I said, talk about our social media, you fool, not yours. Okay, I guess I'll leave that to me then. Pipebombradio.net has all of our social media, and you can definitely, obviously, as you heard Austin, you can follow him. Nate is also on Twitter, and I'll get his in just a moment. With Pipebombradio.net, you'll have access to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Daily Motion, Stitcher, and then some. Nate, tell us what you got coming up on your show, man.
Yes, I second Brother Felix. Apologies in terms of technical issues, because I don't know if Austin conspired with the authority to jam my signal.
That's what I was thinking, too.
I couldn't get on for about a half hour, but it was another fun night.
Because he was in here just sitting pretty, because while we were both struggling to get in there, and he's like, I don't know about you guys, but, you know, professionals got to be on time and blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
I've never been late to a show ever, so I don't know the problems for you guys.
Wasn't he just late last week?
Yeah.
Well, you have to keep in mind my cable went out, but I wasn't late.
That's right.
Always a reason.
But, you can
I'm always come on. I'm being honest about it. If you guys can't believe me about it, I guess I don't know. Need counseling? I'm never late.
I believe everything you say, Austin.
Thank you. At least one person does.
Sometimes you got to humor them, folks. You can follow me at @8 MOZAIK, Nate Mosaic on Twitter. As Felix mentioned, I do have a podcast that Brother Felix was on a couple weeks ago, The Kings of Sport, and it's me and Marcus Vanderberg, who, speaking of Vegas, he just got married this past week in Vegas, so congratulations to Marcus. He'll be back this week, and we're going to be talking Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. So you can check that out on iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook.com/The Kings of Sport.
You know, I know you guys call The Kings of Sport.
I have a good idea. And I'm not sure if Austin will be available or not. Well, maybe he won't. I don't know. But I'm liking the idea of if we do another off the cuff, maybe this summer, very possible this summer, that maybe we invite Marcus to the show.
That's not a bad idea.
Have ourselves a nice, good old discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was saying, you know, the Nate called his podcast The King of Sport, yet he hasn't had the king on yet. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like false advertising. And you know, I have great lawyers. You know, David Otunga.
I'm still working on Harley Race. I don't know what other king you were.
Maybe Harley Race. I wasn't talking about Harley Race. I mean, he is good, but you know, when you talk about the king of sports, you mention all this and that, and Marcus Vanderberg and Nate Mildew. I'm talking about, you know, Austin James. You haven't had him on the show. You had Felix Almedo. Almedo. It's hard to even say that name, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's false advertising,
not as hard as you
and
think.
I wouldn't stand for it.
I would have had
slander.
Austin, I told you my cable was out, man.
You know, actually, that's understandable. I mean, you know, I understand that. I mean, but I think I need to change my, what is it called, the network or something. You know, over here, Charter isn't doing me anything. But wait, hold on, what? Do you have Dish or something? You have Dish Network? What do you have?
Did we lose you, Nate?
What?
Nate, are you there, man? We might have lost connection with
right.
Nate. I'm
Nate
sure.
can't speak because Nate doesn't have a voice right now. That's exactly what you get, for the kings of sport there. So, like I was saying, you can follow me on Twitter at @the_Austin James and see all
you mean they didn't catch it the first time?
All the interesting stuff that's available there.
Well, that'll do it for us tonight, folks. On behalf of
Felix,
Austin and myself.
Did you mention, Felix, that we have hot sauce available?
Oh gosh, Austin, you forgot to tell people how much that they can eat you.
Oh yes, and you know what? Harley Race actually uses Chipotle Explosion on his barbecue ribs. Yeah, for real. He was doing some spring cleaning, and he was on his iPhone and seeing the Chipotle Explosion on PipebombRadio.net. You can get it right now. It has my face on it. It has Nathan Felix's face on it, but I'm sure you can see my face on it. And Chipotle Explosion, it's the best.
Well, that being said, he forgot to mention the chocolates, but if you want to eat Austin, go for some chocolates, man. You bite his head off. I don't know if they're shaped like us or not, but that'd be pretty funny if it was true.
I don't know, because that'd be a lot of chocolate, because you got to fit Austin's hair into the box.
That's true. Jimmy Neutron's got big hair, But as I mentioned, we apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to go ahead and call it a night, folks. Again, thank you for joining us for this special edition of the Off the Cuff episode of Pipe Bomb Radio. Join us next week with Steve Anthony as we talk about his championship win over the legendary Jushin Thunder Liger and much more. Until then, on behalf of Austin and Nate for Pipe Bomb Radio, this is Felix signing off, saying keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Good night, guys.
All right.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like